Jack Reed stood at the huge window of the transport ship and stared at the Vastari homeworld. His heart beat fast in his chest. The planet was nothing like Earth. It had 3 large moons and rings of purple dust that wrapped around it like ribbons. "First time off-world?" asked Captain Morris, walking up beside him. "First time meeting aliens," Jack said. He straightened his uniform. As a junior diplomatic aide, he wasn't supposed to be here. But when Tom got sick, Director Foster had pointed at Jack and said, You're coming with us." Now he was part of the first human team to visit the Vastari homeworld. They were bug-like aliens who had reached out to Earth 6 months ago. Both humans and Vastari were worried about the Drent Empire that was getting bigger and stronger across the galaxy. The ship landed with a soft bump. Jack followed Director Foster and the 5 other team members down the ramp. The air smelled sweet, like honey mixed with metal. 3 tall Vastari waited for them. They stood on 4 back legs, with 2 smaller arms in front. Their heads had large eyes that changed color as they spoke. Jack had studied their basic body language. Blue eyes meant they were calm and happy. Red would be bad. "Welcome, Earth friends," said the middle one in a voice that sounded like it came from a computer. "I am First Minister Zolt. The Queen is pleased you have come." The humans were taken to the royal hive in large floating cars. Jack had never seen anything like the hive before. It was a giant structure that looked like it was grown, not built. Parts of it were clearly alive. Walls that moved and changed color. Doors that opened without any visible handles. Inside, hundreds of Vastari moved about their business. Some flew on thin wings while others walked. Jack noticed they came in different sizes and shapes, unlike in the videos he had studied. "The tour will begin after you rest," said Minister Zolt. "Tonight, there is a welcome feast." Jack's room was comfortable but strange. The bed seemed to adjust to his body when he sat on it. The walls glowed with a soft light. He changed into his formal diplomatic uniform and joined the others for the feast. The Great Hall was filled with Vastari officials. Jack had never felt so out of place. He tried to remember all his training about Vastari customs. Don't eat until the Queen's representative does. Don't show your teeth when you smile. Always bow with your right hand over your heart. The food was strange, but better than he expected. There was something like fruit that tasted like spicy oranges, and meat that reminded him of very tender beef. After eating, Jack needed to find a bathroom. He excused himself and followed the directions a small Vastari servant gave him. But the hive was confusing, with halls that all looked the same. "I should have turned left," he muttered after walking for 10 minutes without finding anything that looked like a bathroom. He saw a door with a symbol that looked similar to the one the servant had drawn. Jack took out his diplomatic access card, which was supposed to open any guest area. He swiped it against the panel next to the door. The door slid open silently. Jack stepped inside, expecting to find a bathroom. Instead, his mouth fell open in shock. He was not in a bathroom. He was in someone's private room. But what made his heart nearly stop was that everything in the room looked human. Jack had accidentally entered somewhere he should not be. And what he saw made no sense at all. Jack froze in the doorway. His brain couldn't make sense of what his eyes were seeing. The room was large and curved, with high ceilings. But that wasn't what shocked him. What made his jaw drop was that everything in the room was from Earth. A human-sized couch sat against one wall, with soft pillows arranged neatly on it. A coffee table made of real wood stood in front of it. On the walls hung paintings of Earth scenes, the Grand Canyon at sunset, the Great Wall of China, the skyline of New York City. "This is impossible," Jack whispered. He took a few careful steps into the room, looking around in wonder. There was a bookshelf filled with human books. Jack ran his fingers along the spines. Classic novels, history books, science texts, all from Earth. Some looked very old. In one corner stood a kitchen area with a refrigerator, a microwave, and even a coffee maker. Jack opened the fridge and found human food. Apples, cheese, milk, and chocolate. How did they get all this? He asked himself. First contact with the Vastari had happened only 6 months ago. There was no way they could have gathered all these Earth items so quickly. Jack noticed a desk with a computer on it. The screen was dark, but the keyboard had English letters. Next to it was a photo album. With shaking hands, Jack opened the album. The first photo showed a busy street in Tokyo. The date at the bottom read 2035, 20 years ago, before first contact. He turned the page. More photos of Earth cities, landmarks, and people, all with dates going back decades. They've been watching us, Jack realized. For years. He put down the album and noticed a doorway leading to another room. Curiosity pushed him forward. This second room was a bedroom, with a human-sized bed. The closet contained human clothes, dresses, pants, shirts, all in smaller sizes. On a dresser sat makeup, jewelry, and perfumes. These aliens don't wear clothes or use perfume, Jack said to himself. Why do they have all this? On the wall hung a large screen. Jack found a remote control and pressed the power button. The screen lit up, showing a list of Earth movies and TV shows, thousands of them, organized by year and country. Jack looked for the most recent ones. They had shows that had just come out last month on Earth. This is some kind of human study room, he concluded. They must have been watching Earth for years without us knowing. He walked back to the main room and noticed another door he hadn't seen before. It was different from the others, made of a strange metal that seemed to glow slightly. Jack hesitated, then put his hand on the door. It slid open with a soft hiss. Beyond was a small, dark room with walls covered in screens. Each screen showed a different place on Earth. Busy streets, parks, office buildings, homes. People going about their normal lives, not knowing they were being watched. One screen showed the inside of a coffee shop Jack recognized near the Earth Embassy in Washington, D.C. He had bought coffee there just before leaving for this mission. A chill ran down Jack's spine. The Vastari weren't just studying humans. They were actively spying on Earth right now. He heard a noise behind him. The soft click of the main door opening. Someone was coming in. Jack looked around frantically for a place to hide. But it was too late. He turned slowly to face whoever had caught him, and found himself looking into the multifaceted eyes of the last person he wanted to see, the Vastari Queen herself. Jack's heart hammered in his chest. He was face to face with Queen Scylla of the Vastari. She was larger than the other aliens he had seen, with 6 legs instead of 4. Her exoskeleton shimmered with blues and purples. The crown-like structure on her head glowed softly. Jack dropped to one knee and bowed his head. Your Majesty, I deeply apologize for this intrusion. I got lost looking for the bathroom and... Stand, human, the Queen said. Her voice was surprisingly soft and melodic, not mechanical like the translator devices the other Vastari used. Jack slowly stood up, expecting guards to rush in and arrest him. But the Queen was alone, and her large eyes were not red with anger, but a curious mix of purple and blue. You are Jack Reed, yes, from the diplomatic team, she asked. Yes, Your Majesty, Jack answered, surprised she knew his name. The Queen moved further into the room and closed the door behind her. I suppose you have questions about all this, she said, gesturing to the human items around them. Many questions, Your Majesty, Jack admitted. Queen Scylla walked to the couch and sat down in a way that seemed practiced, as if she had been sitting on human furniture for a long time. She motioned for Jack to sit in a chair across from her. My people have been observing Earth for nearly 50 years, she explained. At first, it was just routine surveillance of potentially habitable planets. But I became fascinated. Fascinated with humans, Jack asked. With your individuality, she said, do you know what it means to be Vastari, Jack Reed? We are born connected. Our minds are linked from birth. We think as one, feel as one. She picked up a book from the coffee table. Shakespeare's Hamlet. But humans, she continued, you think for yourselves. You feel for yourselves. You create art, music, stories, all from individual minds. She tapped the book. Your Shakespeare wrote about a prince who questions everything. No Vastari would ever question our purpose. Jack started to understand. This room is your private study of humanity. The Queen nodded. My secret. My advisors know we have observed Earth, but they don't know how deeply I have immersed myself in your culture. They would see it as weakness, a queen too interested in aliens. She stood and walked to the kitchen, picking up an apple. I even eat your food sometimes. It tastes different. Individual flavors instead of nutritional efficiency. Is that why you reached out to Earth? Jack asked. Because you're interested in our culture. Queen Scylla put down the apple and her eyes turned a deeper blue. I reached out because I believe my people need what yours has. The Dren Empire grows stronger because they adapt quickly. The Vastari cannot adapt easily. Change must be agreed upon by all. It makes us slow. She moved closer to Jack. But humans adapt constantly. You embrace change. You celebrate difference. These qualities could save my people. Jack felt a strange mix of pride and worry. Your Majesty, I should tell you that if Earth knew you had been watching us for decades, they would be angry, she finished. I understand. But now we must move beyond that. I need your help, Jack Reed. My help? For what? Queen Scylla's eyes flashed with concern. There are those in my government who oppose the alliance with humans. They don't understand what I've learned about your kind. They. She suddenly stopped and turned toward the door. Her eyes flickered to red. Someone is coming, she whispered urgently. Someone who must not find you here. Quickly, Queen Scylla whispered, her eyes flashing red to purple, behind that wall panel. She pointed to what looked like a solid part of the wall. Jack rushed over. As he approached, a section slid open, revealing a small dark space. He squeezed inside, and the panel closed silently. Through a tiny crack, Jack could see into the room. He could also hear everything clearly. Queen Scylla had just settled back onto the couch when the main door opened. 3 tall Vastari entered. Jack recognized First Minister Zolt from the welcome party. The other 2 wore military uniforms with red markings. Your Majesty, Zolt said with a short bow. We did not expect to find you in your personal chambers. Queen Scylla's body language changed completely. She stood tall and regal, nothing like the excited, curious alien who had just been talking about Shakespeare. I was reviewing the human delegation's information, she said coldly. Why have you disturbed me? The tallest military Vastari stepped forward. The humans are settled in their quarters. General Vrack believes this is the perfect time to discuss our real plans. Jack held his breath. Real plans. General Krell, the Queen addressed the military leader. We've discussed this already. The alliance with the humans moves forward. With respect, Your Majesty, General Krell said, his eyes flashing orange. The Dren ambassador has improved their offer. They will give us 5 new star systems if we help them capture the humans. Jack's blood ran cold. The Vastari were planning to betray Earth to their enemies. The Dren cannot be trusted, Queen Scylla said. They will promise anything. First Minister Zolt moved closer to the Queen. The Dren are strong. Humans are weak. It is logical to side with strength. Is it logical to believe the promises of those who have broken every treaty they've ever signed? The Queen asked. General Krell's eyes flashed red. The humans have nothing to offer us. Their technology is primitive. Their military is small. Why did you insist on this alliance? Queen Scylla was silent for a moment. Jack watched her through the crack, wondering what she would say. The humans have resources the Dren want, she finally answered. By allying with humans, we control those resources. Jack realized she was lying to protect her real reasons. The humans trust us now, Minister Zolt said. We can invite them to tour our military facilities tomorrow. Then the Dren ships hiding behind the third moon can attack. We hand over the humans, and the Dren give us the 5-star systems. What about the human ships in orbit? Asked the third Vasteri, speaking for the first time. We've already planted explosives on them, General Krell said proudly. They will be destroyed at the same time. Jack bit his lip to keep from gasping. This was worse than he imagined. The entire delegation was in danger, along with their ships. Very well, Queen Scylla said, surprising Jack. Make the arrangements for tomorrow. But I want to inspect the explosives first, to ensure they will work properly. Jack saw her eyes flash quickly to blue, then back to red. Was she playing along to learn more? Of course, Your Majesty, Krell said, sounding pleased. We'll escort you to see them now. I will join you shortly, the Queen said. I must finish my review of the human files. The 3 Vasteri bowed and left the room. As soon as the door closed, Queen Scylla rushed to Jack's hiding place and opened it. Did you hear? She asked urgently. Everything, Jack said, stepping out. We need to warn my people. Not so simple, Queen Scylla said. The conspirators will be watching all of you. You must escape through my private passages. She touched a wall and another hidden door opened. This will lead you out of the royal quarters. But Jack, yes. Be careful. If they catch you, they'll kill you. And I won't be able to stop them. Jack slipped into the dark passage behind the wall. It was narrow, with glowing blue lines running along the floor. Follow the blue lights, Queen Scylla whispered before closing the panel behind him. The passage sloped downward. It was cool and smelled like metal and something sweet. Jack moved as quickly as he could, following the blue lights as they curved and twisted. After a few minutes, the passage opened into a larger space. Jack gasped. He was on a high walkway, looking down at a vast chamber filled with large round objects. Each was about the size of a car and glowed with a soft green light. Eggs, Jack realized. This must be the Vasteri breeding chamber. No human had ever seen this before. He crept along the walkway, trying to stay quiet. Below, smaller Vasteri workers moved among the eggs, checking each one carefully. At the end of the walkway, the blue lights led him through another door into a new passage. This one was wider, with strange markings on the walls that seemed to move when he looked directly at them. Jack turned a corner and crashed into something. He fell backward, heart pounding. Human, said a small voice. Jack looked up to see a young Vasteri. It was smaller than the others he had seen, with lighter-colored exoskeleton and eyes that shifted quickly between green and yellow. Please don't tell anyone I'm here, Jack said quickly, getting to his feet. The young Vasteri tilted its head. You are from Earth. I am Tick. I study humans. Jack didn't know if he should trust this alien, but he didn't have much choice. I need to get back to my people. There's danger. Tick's eyes flashed with blue. I help you. Queen's passages go everywhere. I know them. You know these secret passages? Jack asked, surprised. I clean them, Tick said simply. Come. This way not safe. Guards patrol. Jack followed Tick through a different door. This new passage was even darker, with only faint light coming from Tick's body. Why are you helping me? Jack asked as they hurried along. Humans interesting, Tick said. I watch Earth shows, funny ones with people falling down. Despite the danger, Jack smiled. You like human comedy? Yes. And music, very different from Vasteri songs. They came to a junction where 3 passages met. Tick stopped, eyes suddenly flashing orange. Listen. Jack heard it too. The click of Vasteri feet on the hard floor, coming closer. Guards, Tick whispered. Hide here. The young Vasteri pushed Jack into a small alcove in the wall. From his hiding place, Jack saw 6 large Vasteri warriors march past. Their bodies were covered in thick armor, and they carried weapons that hummed with energy. Looking for you, Tick said after they passed. Whole hive looking for human spy now. I'm not a spy, Jack said. I got lost and found out about a plot against my people. Tick's eyes flashed with understanding. Politics. Always trouble. Come, we go different way. They took a passage that went straight up, climbing metal rungs embedded in the wall. At the top, they emerged into what looked like a training room. Young Vastari warriors were practicing combat moves, their bodies moving in perfect unison. Battle school, Tick whispered. We cross quickly when instructor turns. They waited until the large Vastari instructor faced away, then rushed across the edge of the room. No one noticed them slip through a small door on the other side. How much further? Jack asked, out of breath. 2 more sections, Tick said. Then human quarters. But problem there too. What problem? Tick's eyes turned a worried purple. Many guards at human rooms, watching all humans. No one allowed in or out. Jack's hope faded. Even if he reached his people, they were already trapped. Is there another way to the landing pads, where our ships are? Tick nodded. Yes, but very dangerous. Many guards there too. Jack took a deep breath. Show me anyway. I have to try. Tick led Jack through a narrow pipe that smelled like cooking oil. They crawled on hands and knees for several minutes until they reached a grate in the floor. Look, Tick whispered, pointing through the grate. Jack peered down and saw the human delegation in a large room. Director Foster paced back and forth while the other team members sat around a table. 4 armed Vastari guards stood at the door. We're not guests anymore, Jack whispered. We're prisoners. They take to ships soon, Tick said. For trap. Jack needed to reach his team, but how? He looked around the pipe for inspiration and noticed a small control panel. What's this for? He asked Tick. Air system, Tick explained. Controls temperature, smells, airflow. An idea formed in Jack's mind. Can we use it to create a distraction? Tick's eyes flashed blue with excitement. Yes, I can make bad smell. Guards hate bad smells, sensitive noses. Do it, Jack said. Tick worked the panel with quick movements. Soon, a terrible smell like rotten eggs filled the corridor below. The Vastari guards began clicking their mandibles in distress. 2 of them left their posts to find the source of the smell. Now we go, Tick said, pushing the grate open. They dropped down into the room, startling everyone. Jack, Director Foster exclaimed. Where have you been? No time, Jack said quickly. We need to leave now. The Vastari are planning to hand us over to the Dren. The remaining guards raised their weapons, but Jack had been watching how they moved. He kicked the closest guard in the joint where its back legs connected, a vulnerable spot he'd noticed in the training room. The guard fell with a loud click. The other humans joined the fight. They were outnumbered, but the Vastari weren't expecting resistance. Within moments, all the guards were down. Jack, explain what's happening, Director Foster demanded as they barricaded the door. Quickly, Jack told them everything. The Queen's secret room, the conspiracy with the Dren, the explosives on their ships. This is very bad, said Dr. Wilson, the team's xenobiologist. If the Dren get us, they'll extract everything we know about Earth's defenses. We need to reach our ships and remove those explosives, Foster said. Impossible, said Tick, hiding behind Jack. Too many guards. Just then, alarms began to sound throughout the hive. Red lights flashed in the corridors. They know you've escaped, Tick said, eyes turning yellow with fear. The door to their room burst open. Jack braced for guards, but instead, Queen Scylla entered, flanked by her own soldiers. Your Majesty. First Minister Zult pushed in behind her. These humans are dangerous. They attacked our guards. After you imprisoned them. The Queen's eyes flashed angrily. Against my orders. General Krell stomped in, weapon raised. The humans know too much. They must be eliminated now. The room was suddenly divided. The humans on one side, Krell and his soldiers on another, and the queen with her loyal guards in the middle. "What is happening here?" A new voice boomed. A massive Vastari entered, bigger than any Jack had seen before. "High General Vrax." Zolt bowed low. "The queen has been compromised. She protects the humans against our interests." The High General looked at Queen Scylla. "Is this true? You choose aliens over your own kind." All eyes turned to the queen. Jack held his breath. Everything depended on what she would say next. Queen Scylla drew herself up to her full height. Her eyes turned a deep, royal blue that seemed to fill the room with light. "I choose the future of our species," she said in a voice that needed no translator. "And now I will show you why." She turned to Jack and nodded. It was time for the truth to come out. "For 50 years, I have studied humans," Queen Scylla announced to the shocked Vastari leaders. "Not just watched them, understood them." She walked to the center of the room. Her royal guards formed a protective circle around her and the humans. "The Vastari way is not working anymore," she continued. "We think as one, move as one, fight as one. And the Dren know exactly what we will do because of it." High General Vrax's eyes flashed between red and yellow. "What are you suggesting, Your Majesty?" "I am suggesting we learn from humans," the Queen said. She motioned to Jack. "Come here, Jack Reed." Jack stepped forward nervously. "This human discovered my secret," Queen Scylla said. "He found my private chambers where I study Earth culture. And do you know what he did when he realized we had been watching his planet for decades?" The room was silent. "He tried to understand why," she said. "He listened. He adapted to new information. This is what humans do. They change. They grow. They think differently from each other." General Krell made an angry clicking sound. "Different thinking creates chaos. Different thinking creates solutions," Queen Scylla countered. "Watch." She tapped a control on her wrist. A large screen appeared on the wall, showing the space around the planet. Everyone could see 5 Dren warships hiding behind the third moon, just as the conspirators had planned. "The Dren are already here, waiting to attack," the Queen said. "They promised you 5 star systems, Minister Zolt. But look closer." The image zoomed in on one of the Dren ships. Its weapons were pointed not at Earth vessels, but at the Vastari Palace. "They never planned to honor their agreement," the Queen said. "They were going to destroy us after we helped them capture the humans." First Minister Zolt's eyes turned pale with shock. "How did you know?" "Because I think differently now," Queen Scylla said. "I asked questions a normal Vastari would not ask, like a human would." She turned to the High General. "But I also planned like a Vastari. While these traitors were placing explosives on human ships, I was placing our own weapons near the Dren fleet." She pressed another button on her wrist. Outside, bright flashes lit up the sky as the Dren ships were hit by surprise attacks from hidden Vastari weapons. "The Dren threat is neutralized," the Queen announced. "And now we will form a true alliance with Earth, one based on strength and understanding." General Krell and Minister Zolt were quickly arrested by the Queen's guards. High General Vrax bowed deeply to the Queen. "You have shown wisdom I did not understand," the old general admitted. "Perhaps there is much we can learn from these humans." Later, in a new meeting room, the human delegation sat with Queen Scylla and her loyal advisors to sign a real alliance treaty. Jack was given a special seat next to the Queen. "Because of your accidental discovery, Jack Reed, both our worlds are safer," Queen Scylla said. "I would like you to stay as a special ambassador to the Vastari, to help us understand each other better." Jack smiled. "I would be honored, Your Majesty." Director Foster nodded her approval. "We couldn't ask for a better representative." "There is one more thing you should know," Queen Scylla said quietly to Jack when the others were busy with the treaty details. She led him to a small side room where a strange machine hummed softly. Inside was a Vastari egg, but it glowed with unusual colors. "This is my hair," the Queen explained. "But it's different from any Vastari born before. I have added human DNA to make my successor better able to understand both our worlds. Jack's eyes widened in amazement. You're creating a hybrid. Queen Scylla's eyes glowed a warm blue. I'm creating the future. One where Vasteri can think both as one and as individuals, where we can have your creativity and our unity together. Jack looked at the egg with wonder. His accidental wrong turn had changed not just his life, but the future of two species. Sometimes getting lost leads to the most important discoveries, he said. The Queen's eyes sparkled with what Jack now recognized as happiness. Indeed, Jack Reed. Indeed.